People come to the Outer Banks for a lot of different reasons, and we're going to show them to you on this episode of The Traveling Golfer. Behind me is Roanoke Sound, a water hazard I sure wouldn't want to play across. But in between, there's plenty of beaches and dunes and sand, and of course, across the street, the ocean. All of this makes for a great golf experience at the Outer Banks. Come travel with us, the Traveling Golfer.
If you find yourself doing strange things to keep your light beer from getting lost in the crowd, it's time to rethink your light beer. 99 calories, 100% authentic lager. The light beer that stands out in a crowd. Yingling Light Lager from America's oldest brewery. Rethink your light beer.
We're with Chad Delia, golf professional here at the Carolina Club in Grandy, in the greater Outer Banks area. Chad, tell us a little bit about the Carolina Club. It's on the mainland.
Correct. Most of the golf courses down in our area are going to be on the island side. Don't get too many storms in between the Sound and the ocean, but it's not too bad of an area for sure.
That's a good way to catch the travelers on their way in
Correct.
and on the way out.
Correct. We get a lot of calls. People get stuck in traffic sometimes, but we get a few phone calls to make sure we're in the right spot for sure.
Tell a little bit about the style of the golf course.
Carolina Club's going to be a little bit more of a championship style golf course.
But sometimes there's a little bit of a break also.
For sure, absolutely. Pretty open off the tee for the most part. Hole 4 here is a par 5. Not too many hazards in play. Pretty short second shot, definitely a birdie hole. The 9th hole is also a birdie hole. There is some water in play, but it's pretty reachable in 2, and that gives you a good look at eagle, if not a birdie, for sure.
Well, I like hearing that eagle word. Aside from the birdie holes, I'm sure there's a couple you better pay attention to.
There's a few to keep your eye on. Hole 7 is our par 3 island green.
Coming to holes like this, number 7, spectacular and reminiscent of number 17 at TPC Sawgrass, the Stadium Club. And it even has the wind.
I'll just say that water's had a few golf balls in it every day. That's one thing. And then hole 6 is our toughest hole out here, par 5. Hazards line both sides of the fairway all the way down the hole, and it's our longest hole out here as well. So keep your eyes open for those two and you'll be all right.
Now when you're hard on the ocean, on the island, wind is always a factor. How about here?
It's definitely going to be a little bit of the same. We might have a little bit of the mainland wind, but you got to keep your eye for the wind when you're ever playing the Carolina Club. A lot of the holes do have some water out there, so it does add a little challenge out there for your everyday golfer, for sure.
That's what we want, a little bit of challenge.
Absolutely.
We get it at the Carolina Club.
That's the one.
We can always wash down some of that challenge inside there. It's a good place to sit after a round of golf.
Tucker's Bar and Grill, you can't beat it. Definitely a good spot to stop by if you're in town.
We're with Corey Schneider, Director of Instruction at the Pointe on the Outer Banks, designed by Russell Breeden, who has done a lot of work in the Carolinas.
Yes, sir.
What are the main characteristics of this golf course?
The beauty of this golf course is it's always in great shape. We have a great staff that manicures the golf course. It's player friendly also, so if you're not the most polished golfer, you can still have fun out here and not lose a bunch of golf balls. And a lot of times people shoot one of their better scores at our golf course. Also, with the proximity of tee to green, the pace of play is quite fast, so a 4-hour round is a slow round for us.
A lot of pretty holes out here at the Pointe,
for sure,
Corey, but a couple that you'd like to sort of underscore a bit?
Absolutely. 2 to come to mind, one on the front and one on the back. Going from number 5 to number 6, from that tee, you can actually see the Sound, which is beautiful out there. Also on the back 9, you get to hole 16, you get to drive across a bridge, hit over a pond. It's got a nice little backdrop there. There's a lot of great holes, but those 2 I always like to highlight with our guests.
Corey, the fact that the Pointe is located on the mainland,
sure,
and it's playable. pretty good course to start your trip to the Outer Banks?
It is. It's always a nice one to kind of get you warmed up, especially those players that don't play every week. There's some space between the fairway and the trees, which is nice. Not only here, but our sister course, the Carolina Club, which is just 10 minutes north. You're not going to go on an Easter egg hunt looking for your golf ball out here, which is nice. And we even trim the tree branches so where you can get underneath and still knock your golf ball out. So it's a nice little touch that we have here.
And talking about good condition, the greens are really good for a good reason.
The greens are A1 bent grasses, which is actually the same grass that you would see at Augusta National. They roll great, so it kind of takes an excuse away from you because they're always rolling good. So if you miss a putt, it's a lot of times the golfer's fault, that's for sure.
Great conditions, A1 bent grass, a little bit of Augusta right here at the Outer Banks. We're with Patrick Kelly, General Manager, Nags Head Golf Links, PGA member. He knows golf. He knows that golfers like to come and play a true links golf course, and Nags Head had a special rating, didn't it?
Yes, recently we were rated in the top 10 golf courses in America by Links Magazine online for a links style golf course.
Tell us a little bit of the history of Nags Head Golf Links and how it came to have national and international recognition.
Well, the course was developed in the late 80s here on a tract of land that's right along the Roanoke Sound. You can see the beautiful views of over to Manio, to the historic waterfront over there.
And with the beach just across the street.
Correct. The beach is not much more than a half a mile across the street. So we're on a narrow strip of land here, sandy soil, so it lended itself to a link-style golf course, target course off the tee. Greens have some generous area for approach shots. Some of the natural grasses you would see in a links golf course, some of the beach grasses grow out here, so it makes it, gives that feel of a links-style golf course for sure.
It's not a long course, so it's not going to overpower a lot of people, but you better be pretty accurate when you play.
Exactly. The golf course is just over 6,000 yards at its longest, and it definitely requires accuracy over distance. If you play smartly to the middle of the fairways, you'll have middle irons to low irons into the greens all day, and that can help you score well.
What about the special challenges that present the superintendent to keep a golf course in as great a shape as this course is all the time, right this close to the water?
Yeah, we struggle with storms. The sound here has salt content in the water, so we get overwash, and that's not very good for our Bermuda grass. It'll burn the Bermuda grass, but he works hard. He's got a great staff to keep the golf course in the condition that it's in.
Now, Patrick, we caught a very atypical day here at Nags Head Golf Links. Pretty calm.
Yeah, this is very unusual to have a flagstick lay limp without any breeze on it. Typically this time of year you'll see a southwest wind blowing across the golf course, making club selection very difficult. If you've never played the golf course before, there are some blind shots, some areas you have to lay up off the tee, and then just a few rounds under your belt out here so you understand the way the golf course plays, and then it becomes a very scoreable golf course.
Now, this course is managed by Club Corp, a national management company.
Correct.
Advantages?
Yeah, we manage this golf course here on the Outer Banks at Nags Head Golf Links. We also manage the Currituck Club in Corolla. That's a Reese Jones golf course. Nationally, our members have access to hundreds of golf courses across the country. So membership here has great benefits for them to travel and see golf courses as far as California, Florida, New York, all over the country.
So where did the name Nags Head come from?
Yeah, that's a great question. We get that question a lot. The story I'm most told is that pirates used to walk Jockey's Ridge with smaller horses and a lantern. And as the lantern shone, the ships offshore would think it was a safe harbor, come towards shore, land in the breakers out there, and then the pirates would go out and be able to pillage and steal from the bounty that was on those ships.
A lot of history at Nags Head, a lot of golf balls in that Roanoke Sound. A lot of fun. I recommend this stop right here. We're with Brian Sullivan, Director of Golf here at Kilmarlic Golf Club, a real jewel in the entire Outer Banks area. I love this course, Brian. We're standing on the third tee. Tell us a little bit about the style of this course and this somewhat unknown architect, Tom Steele.
Tom Steele, this was the second course that he did. He did another one in Virginia called Nansemond River. We were lucky to have Tom design the course. We think we have a jewel here on the Outer Banks. We're the last course that was built in the area. He had worked with some other architects before he kind of went out on his own, so he learned some tricks, and he was here every day, which, you know, in a lot of today's modern architects, and when courses were being built, you know, so many at one time, they would just go to each course for a few days at here and there. We had Tom here every day, and it really made the difference. And I think when people play this golf course, they can see the little things that were done that make the difference.
The name obviously makes you think that it might be a Scottish-Irish style course. Not really so. It's much more traditional Carolina course.
We got the name from a old county historian book that represents this area, and there's two folklores. One, the name Kilmarlic comes from a ship from Kilmarnock, Scotland that ran aground in this area, and the locals partook in the whiskey and hence took the name Kilmarlic. And another is from an Indian named Kilmaig. We use the first folklore. We like that one better.
Yeah. Hopefully my ship doesn't run aground.
I don't think so.
This third hole, we chose this to play together because, number one, it's visually stunning, but number two, it's a strategic hole. You got to think a little bit, so I have my instructor here. He's going to do the thinking for me. Let's go have at it.
Let's do it.
Shot distance from Golf Buddy, when accuracy matters.
Well, Brian, you hit a hybrid off the tee. I hit a driver. You made par, I made bogey. Doesn't seem fair. But that's the way this golf course is. It's a strategic golf course. Not only do you have to hit the ball away from the trouble, but on the right side of the fairway.
It makes a big difference, Tony. The way you come into the greens can make it a lot easier shot depending on where you play from. And Tom Steele did a great job giving you areas to hit to. They look sometimes narrow, but they're actually very forgiving and with a lot of room out there.
The entire golf course sort of follows. I feel like as I'm playing the course, I'm playing a continuous story through and over the wetlands, strategic holes where there are carry bunkers, where there are placement bunkers. I like the whole story that Kilmarlic tells you.
I think that's a great description of the golf course. People come in and ask, you know, to give them a little help on the course. I kind of describe it that way, and it's really a risk-reward course. And I tell them you can kind of bite off whatever you want to bite off. And it's a course after people play it the first time, they can't wait to play it again because they feel like they can do so much better the next time.
We picked number 3, but there are some other dramatic holes on the course.
Definitely. The finishing holes on this golf course are really something special. You get right near the sound, so you play along the marshes, and you have a par 5, a par 3, and a par 5 as your finish. We host a collegiate event here at NC Division I. It's amazing, those last 3 holes. You can have teams that are 3 or 4 shots in the lead, and after 18 they're 3 or 4 shots down. They're big swing holes. It's great fun to watch.
Yeah, strategic golf. Kilmarlic Golf Club must play on any trip to the Outer Banks.
This is our new E8 adjustable driver, engineered to produce an easy launching, higher trajectory. The E8 is our most forgiving driver yet, and it's long. The center of gravity is moved closer and lower to the face for faster ball speed. The power grid on the sole increases spring-like effect for even longer drives. With our new lighter shafts generating faster club head speed, Without swinging harder, the E8 is really hot. It's simple. Faster ball speed means more distance. That's the Exotic's E8 adjustable driver.
Some people just like to come to the Outer Banks and hang out. Aaron Toole, Public Relations Manager for the Outer Banks Visitors Bureau, 130 miles. This is his kingdom. A lot of different attractions for people all across this long stretch of North Carolina coast.
The Cape Hatteras National Seashore, which is the largest tract of undeveloped beaches on the East Coast that you can access by car along NC 12 highway. And most of our islands are less than a mile wide, so you're always close to the water, which lends itself to some really great golf, which we're sort of here exploring.
Seafood, that's a big part of this area.
Yeah.
I saw all the fishing boats. They bring it in,
yeah.
We consume it.
Over 100 locally owned restaurants that you can't find anywhere else on the East Coast. Some really great chefs with a lot of talent. And you know, our vacationers sort of demand that. They're from all over the United States, all over the world. What other development in human history has affected modern travel more than the invention and the development of the airplane? And you can visit Kitty Hawk, Kill Devil Hill's Wright Brother National Memorial, and actually walk the flight line where the Wright brothers took off and landed 4 times on December 17th, 1903. There's a museum there. We have the tallest sand dunes on the East Coast at Jockey's Ridge State Park. It's a free state park. You can learn how to hang glide there.
The family vacation means a lot of different activities. They can be as simple as miniature golf all the way up to a deep sea fishing expedition.
That's right, Tony. And we got things to do. We got laser tag. There's 3 national parks, a state park, and 2 wildlife refuges. It's developed where about 80% of our accommodations come from that vacation rental industry. So we have several dozen hotels. We have thousands of homes where 2 and 3 families can kind of come in, split the cost.
Yeah, and they go from the smaller cottage size to some massive homes right on the beach where the extended family can stay.
And the neat thing about the Outer Banks is it's really a year-round destination. So everything that you love about the Outer Banks in the summertime sort of applies to the fall too, except it's just a little bit less busy. The rates are come down a little bit after the kids go back to school. We start in the spring. We have a big seafood and wine festival in March. We have a beer festival, a craft beer festival in May. In October, we have a seafood festival, we have a jazz festival. So there's lots of reasons to come back and celebrate the Outer Banks and celebrate being off work. And you'll never have to pay to park anywhere on the Outer Banks. There's lots of free public parking, and it doesn't cost anything to go to the beach.
Free parking, free beaches, even the air is free, and there's plenty of air on the Outer Banks.
That's right.
There's always a breeze. It's the coolest place in North Carolina. I'm with Michelle Ellis, Public Relations Coordinator for Currituck County Tourism Board. That's on the northern end of the Outer Banks, where there's a very famous area known as Corolla, where they have wild horses. And we have 2 right behind. Oh, they're not really the horses, are they?
No, Tony.
Okay.
Those are goats.
Well, we'll get to the horses. We're actually at the Weeping Radish Brewery, a craft brewery right here. So tell me a little bit about not only the goats, but the other wildlife that's on the northern end of the Outer Banks.
Well, on our 4-wheel drive beach is Corova, actually, and that is where our wild Spanish Mustang roam. And those horses have been there for about 500 years. They came over with the Spaniards, the ships crashed on the coast, the horses have actually acclimated themselves to our area, and they're one of our iconic treasures for our county.
And there's a couple of historic items that we should talk about.
We do. We have our historic Corolla lighthouse, 214 steps to the top, views that are unspeakable. The Whalehead, which is actually a historic house that you can tour, and at one time it was a hunting lodge.
There's a special center in Corolla for wildlife education?
There is. It's called the Outer Banks Center for Wildlife Education. They actually hold free classes on a daily basis, and it's to educate not only the children from ages 3 up, to also adults. Kayaking, how to crab. Most children haven't been crabbing in their life.
The other thing is, though, there is some shopping up in that area.
There is. We've got a place called Historic Corolla Village. Shops. There's outdoor activities. We have the Wild Horse Museum is actually in Historic Corolla Village.
For something different, try the north end of the Outer Banks. I'm with Uli Benevitz, owner of the Weeping Radish Farm Brewery, a native of Bavaria, Germany, but you've made a home here on the Outer Banks. You got the idea of a microbrewery, as many other people have, but you added much more. We're in front of the meat case here. Farm to Fork Restaurant.
We started with a microbrewery in 1986, which was long before microbrewing was in. And then we added in 2000 the whole component of an organic farm, a butchery, and do the whole farm and fork concept all in one go. So we actually bought a van, and now every restaurant on the Outer Banks that gets delivered on the same van, fresh beer, fresh brats, for every restaurant on the Outer Banks.
Beer and brats delivery. What an idea. If I give you my address at home, maybe the truck can make a little stop one time?
I'm sure we can.
All right. Uli Benevitz at the Weeping Radish Farm Brewery. The Outer Banks, steeped in history. The beaches, sand dunes, wild horses, deep sea fishing, all of the family attractions. It's a long list, but at the top of the list, you must put golf. If you don't believe me, just look behind me. Does it get any better than this? Traveling Golfer has taken you to another great destination. Put it high on your list, the Outer Banks.
Tony Leodora's golf wardrobe, courtesy of Antigua, the leader in modern golf apparel.